My name is Elena, and by the age of 26, I had learned a painful truth. Family is built through loyalty, not blood. The message arrived while I sat alone in the front pew of a quiet church, staring at the casket of my 28-year-old husband, Liam. Cancer had taken him only 4 days earlier, after a brutal fight that lasted just 3 months. My phone vibrated. "Today is your sister's birthday. We can't come." 10 words. That was all my mother thought my husband's funeral deserved. My hands trembled so violently that I almost dropped the phone onto the marble floor. I slowly looked behind me. My side of the church was nearly empty. No mother, no father, no younger sister Maya. They weren't delayed, they weren't lost. They were across town decorating a banquet hall, cutting cake and celebrating Maya's 24th birthday, while I buried the love of my life. At the reception afterward, people whispered when they noticed me stop crying and force a strange smile. They assumed grief had finally broken me. They had no idea I had just realised my family would never choose me. Growing up, I had always been invisible. Maya was the centre of every celebration, every conversation, every sacrifice. If she caught a cold, my parents cancelled their plans. If I was sick or injured, I was told to stop complaining. Eventually, I stopped asking for attention altogether. Everything changed when I met Liam. He didn't treat me like an afterthought. He listened, encouraged me, and loved me with a kindness I had never experienced before. Marrying him felt like finally finding the family I'd searched for my entire life. He knew exactly how my parents treated me. Whenever they disappointed me, he reminded me that my worth wasn't determined by people who refused to see it. Together we built a peaceful life away from their constant favoritism. Then Liam started suffering terrible headaches. Within weeks, doctors confirmed our nightmare: aggressive cancer. Our future disappeared overnight. Hospital rooms replaced vacations. Chemotherapy replaced date nights. Medical bills piled higher every week while hope slowly faded. Desperate and exhausted, I finally called my parents. I wasn't asking for money. I only wanted my mother beside me for a little while. Instead, every request was answered with another excuse, and every excuse somehow revolved around Maya. Even while Liam fought for his life, my family still believed my sister's ordinary problems mattered more than my devastating reality. The worst moment came on the day Liam was rushed into emergency surgery. Doctors said the operation could last 3 hours and they couldn't promise he would survive. Sitting alone in the waiting room, I called my mother through tears. "Please come," I begged. "I can't do this by myself." She sighed before answering. "Elena, sweetheart, we can't today. Maya's boyfriend just left her and she needs help moving out of her apartment." For several seconds, I couldn't even speak. My husband was fighting for his life inside an operating room, yet my parents believed helping my sister pack boxes was more important. That conversation summed up the next 3 months. They never visited the hospital, they ignored my updates, they skipped every difficult appointment and every frightening setback. Whenever I reached out, they were always busy celebrating another milestone in Maya's life or comforting her through another minor inconvenience. Meanwhile, I watched Liam grow weaker. The laughter that once filled our home disappeared. His confident smile slowly faded beneath exhaustion. But even then, he worried more about me than himself. One quiet evening, he squeezed my hand and whispered, "Promise me you'll never let anyone make you feel unwanted again." I promised, though I had no idea how important those words would become. A week later, Liam slipped away peacefully. The silence afterward felt unbearable. With no family beside me, I arranged every detail of his funeral alone. When the funeral director offered the earliest available service, my heart sank. It fell on Maya's birthday. Still, I called my mother. "Please," I pleaded. "Just come for 1 hour. I need my family." She hesitated before saying, "We'll see what we can do." Deep down, I already knew the answer. The morning of the funeral proved me right. While I sat beside Liam's casket, my mother's text arrived. "Today is your sister's birthday. We can't come." Whatever hope I still carried died with those words. After everyone else left, I returned to the empty house. Bills covered the kitchen table and I needed our marriage certificate to file Liam's life insurance claim. As I searched through his desk, I discovered a velvet box hidden beneath several folders. Inside rested an old brass key attached to a handwritten note. It contained only an address and 4 words: First National Bank, Box 412. The following morning, I walked into the bank with trembling hands, completely unaware that opening that small safe deposit box was about to change my entire life forever. The bank manager led me into the secure vault without saying much. My hand shook as I inserted the brass key into safe deposit box 412. When the heavy lid opened, I froze. Inside weren't family keepsakes or a few forgotten documents. There were property deeds, company ownership certificates, investment records, and a sealed letter addressed to Liam. I unfolded it carefully. His late grandfather explained that he had deliberately bypassed his own selfish children, leaving his real estate empire and family business entirely to Liam. He believed Liam was the only member of the family who valued people more than money. Liam's will, prepared months before his illness became critical, transferred every asset to me without conditions. In a single morning, I had become the sole owner of a multi-million-dollar business and an extensive property portfolio. The news spread quickly. Within 2 days, the same relatives who had ignored Liam's illness suddenly remembered I existed. My phone buzzed constantly. My mother sent message after message filled with fake sympathy. "We're heartbroken, sweetheart. We wanted to be there for you. Please let us come over and help." Then Maya texted, "Congratulations! Mom says Grandpa's company is yours now. I've always dreamed of opening a fashion boutique. Since we're family, maybe you could invest. Let's celebrate together." Not one message mentioned Liam. Not one apologized for abandoning me. They only cared about the inheritance. Instead of blocking their numbers, I made a different decision. I called my mother with a calm voice. "I'm not upset anymore," I said. "Tell Maya I'll come to her birthday party tonight. I have a special gift that will change her future." She sounded thrilled, convinced I had forgiven everything. That evening I arrived carrying a beautifully wrapped box. The room fell silent as Maya eagerly opened it before dozens of guests. Her smile disappeared instantly. Inside wasn't a check. There was a framed copy of my mother's funeral text, a legal restraining order, and an official eviction notice. Confused faces turned toward me. I calmly explained that the house my parents had lived in for years belonged to Liam's grandfather's company, which now belonged to me. My parents stared at the documents in disbelief. "You chose a birthday party over my husband's funeral," I said quietly. "Now you have until Monday to find somewhere else to live." No one spoke. I placed the empty gift box on the table, turned around, and walked out without looking back. For the first time in my life, I wasn't leaving because I had been rejected. I was leaving because I had finally chosen myself.